Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Adam. You're watching Unlimited Options Investing. In this video, I want to talk about big Chinese tech and if they finally bottomed and my thoughts about them and as investments and going short term, medium term, and long term. So if it's your first time visiting the channel, welcome aboard. Hit that subscribe button here at Unlimited Options Investing. We talk everything from stocks, crypto, options, ETFs, precious metals, and we're investing for the long term. As always, smash that like button, guys. Alright, so the first thing we want to take into consideration is the drop-off from Alibaba and all big tech coming out of China. So we see here, back at the end of 2020, we had an all-time high around $310. We're now trading at $166.81, which is about just under 50%, so 46% down from those all-time highs we reached about a year ago. Just know that this market cap of $453 billion would be much, much higher if it wasn't for all the fear and uncertainty and doubt when it came to Chinese regulation and what they've been doing to big tech with all the politics that goes on in China. Alibaba would most likely be trading a lot closer to a $1 trillion valuation, if not more than that. Who knows? But if we even look at their financials, as of March 31st, 2021. You can see year over year total revenue going from $39 billion to $56 billion, $71 billion, and $109 billion. So it's growing at a substantial rate. Again, it's the Chinese Amazon. It's not just e-commerce over there, but they also have cloud computing and so many other different subsidiaries. Looking at Yahoo Finance, you see for the next quarter of December 2021, revenue growth is estimated at 25%, with 2022 at 27.9% and 2023 at 19.5%. So this company is growing. There's just a lot of regulation fears that people are having, but has that fear ended? We're going to see in a second. We've been taking a look over here as well at the valuation measures. We are trading at a forward PE of 18.87 for a mega cap company that is growing at those rates. Valuation-wise, this company is a deal and a half, and I was actually talking to a friend. Instead of making Alibaba one of their core positions, he said, you know what? I'm just going to make this a speculative investment, to think of it in that term, in the sense that because, for example, if you're not buying actual ownership in the company, it's an ADR, American Depository Receipt, meaning you only own a receipt of the ownership of the stock, meaning you don't actually own the company itself the same way you do when you buy a company off the NASDAQ like Apple or Facebook or Amazon or Google or whatever. Also dangers of delisting, even though I do not see that happening. It is possible. Anything's possible, really, so you can't discount it either. So for all those risks, instead of making it a main position, it may be worthwhile to take a gamble on this company long term, because if things do get straightened out and sentiment does return, which it probably eventually will anyway, the stock could go up much, much, much higher than it is right now. And honestly, and everything I just said has to go with any one of these stocks. You have Tencent, you have Baidu, you have JD.com, and when you think of big Chinese tech, you're thinking pretty much of these four main companies, and then there's some other companies as well, but these are the main four big dogs that you think of when you think of big tech in China. And it's the same kind of idea. If you look at the 5-year chart of Tencent and the 5-year chart of Alibaba, they pretty much look pretty similar. Same shapes, but different, I guess, intensities and valleys and peaks. And looking at Baidu stock as well over the last 5 years, a little bit different, of course, but you see the peak back in February, and Baba actually a little bit earlier, back in October of 2020. JD.com, you see that same similar shape as well. This one peaking out in February. And so taking a look at Alibaba first, this is on the daily. We see in 2020 that peak over here, and then ever since then that vicious down cycle we've been having. And I remember the down cycles. First we went down over here to this 270 level. It's like, oh, it's going to recover. And then we dropped to 210, recovered to 270, and then it's like, okay, we're going to, go back to recovery. And then it dropped again, made new lower highs all the way back to 210, and then recovered a little bit to 230. It's like, you know what? It's okay. And I was actually holding some call options over here trying to trade Alibaba, and I literally probably sold the last day probably at this candle over here, right above 214, before everything really started to fall on itself. Because once it broke this trend line you see over here, I know there's a lot of lines on the screen, this trend line over here, and this stretches back all the way back to 2016. When it broke that trend line, I got out. I'm like, you know what, I'm not touching this stock until some kind of bottom has been formed. And now looking at the charts, has that happened? Has the bottom been formed over here at 138? And let's zoom out, taking a look at the weekly. So is this a bottom over here? And I know there's a lot of lines again on the screen, but I've drawn them at major support and resistance lines for 150. So I had 150, 130, and 110. As well as this resistance line of 200. Once Alibaba eventually does go back above 200, I think it's going to be on for the stock. But it does have to break through that major resistance first. It's kind of like a psychological number as well. Not to make things more confusing, I'm going to draw one more line over here, and this is a downtrend. So until we also get out of this downtrend, I'm still not convinced of that turnaround. However, this could very well be that bottom. If we do find a resistance though on this one line over here, the downtrend could continue testing this 150 and this 130. But hey, maybe not. Maybe we trade sideways between even these two channels. So there's many different possibilities. I know I'm not giving a clear, this is exactly what's going to happen, because you know what? I have no idea. It's either going to go up, it's going to go down, or it's going to trade sideways and eventually coil up and then decide whether it wants to go up or down from that point. But also seeing that this vicious downtrend has also lost its momentum is encouraging at the same time if you want to start scaling into a potential position. Also seeing that there's a double bottom kind of formed over here as well on the weekly on the RSI, which we can also see over here at the end of 2018. And has the fear subsided so far? Taking a look at Tencent holdings, same kind of idea as well. We have that downtrend, but now we formed a vase. So you know what? I feel actually a lot better getting into this one. And they all kind of trade together, which we'll probably see with Baidu and JD if they're also forming bases. And we can draw a nice little channel over here, let's say from the $55 mark, which was resistance back in 2020 over here in May, which is now the support over here. And we can draw resistance around, let's say, the $65 mark over here, which coincides very nicely with the support we see from the summer of 2020 and a resistance point over here. This is why I love technical analysis, because it shows how psychological and how emotional trading can be in life, I guess, in itself. I know it goes a little bit deeper than what you signed up for when you clicked on this video, but it's really interesting stuff to me. We also noticed that the moving averages have also caught up with Tencent as well. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Looking at Baidu, same kind of idea, same kind of chart. We could also draw lines over here, let's say at 170, which we're kind of at right now, as well as maybe over here, where we can see it lines up perfectly with the resistance from the end of 2020 and over here the support that we're kind of seeing right now. Not to mention the moving averages have also caught up with Baidu. And lastly, looking at JD.com, similar kind of idea. This one's been a little bit more aggressive, more volatile. It seems like it's actually a little bit in an uptrend. So this one may be already recovering, and this could be a sign for things to come. We'll just have to see. And taking also a look at the iShares Emerging Markets Index, which have these holdings over here. So Taiwan Semi, which has 6.58%, Tencent, we say Alibaba, Samsung. You also have JD in there, so it's not one for one exactly with all the big Chinese tech. However, we see a similar kind of pattern as well. We see a top back in February, some consolidation, more downtrend, some consolidation. Is it going to do the same thing again, coil up and then go down, or keep trading sideways, or recover from here? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think is going to happen to big Chinese tech. As always, hit that subscribe button, that like button. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.